Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of Gotham, do you want to talk about the Penguin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah.
I finished it.
Yeah.
Did you cut you? Oh, okay, good.
You finished it?
Yeah, I finished it.
What'd you think? Because me and Dan talked a little bit about it, but what'd you think? Did you latch on to it?
Man, it's so.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think it was definitely one of the best shows that I've seen all year, for sure. The Penguin was excellent. I'd probably give it honestly, it's a 10 out of 10, man. It was a great show. Legitimately phenomenal. I think my favorite part was the fact that there's no redeemable qualities to the Penguin.
Keep
There's
villains, man.
He's a villain's villain, bro. Yeah. He's an old school villain. He's like,
this might be one of the better origin stories for a villain we've seen from a comic book, anything, honestly.
Because writers have a tendency to like try to sympathize or humanize villains because they don't want them to be one-dimensional. But you can make them not one-dimensional, but also still pretty bad. It's like still pretty like a terrible person.
Yeah. They're like worse than how, instead of making them better than how we thought they were, make them worse.
Yeah,
which is exactly what they did with him. It's like he was bad in the beginning, but like by the end, he's like the worst person.
And honestly, you got to give everybody their flowers, man. Shout out to the character that plays Sophia Falcone, Vic, obviously,
fantastic.
RP to the homie.
Man,
how'd y'all feel about that? That had me all fucked up.
I just find out his name. I know his name too. Like I learned
his name's actually kind of hard to say. I'm not gonna lie.
Rhenzy Feliz.
I didn't love that, and I get the motivation and stuff like that, but I felt like
it had to. Me and T were literally talking about it. Like I think
the day that it was gonna come out, that Sunday. Yeah.
Like we said, like somebody has to die. Who's it gonna be? And we were wrong. We were like, nah, yo, Vic. Because what did you say? You said you predicted that old Penguin would go to jail, and when he gets out, like Vic would be like a YN.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was turning into a YN
because he killed he killed like 4 people in the last like 2 episodes. He was like. He was a shooter now, you know what I'm saying? I was basically turning him into him. And when he gave that little speech, I was right about that. I was like, yo, he gonna have a little accent. He gonna try to put the spin on it. He gonna try to give him it like, try to pretend that he's Oz. Nigga punched him right in his stomach like, yo, calm down. I don't know who you think you are, bro, but you need to calm down before you get yourself killed out here. But I
just feel like while I think you could have done all of that, I think you can get Oz to the same spot losing Vic himself without him being the one. Like, I get it. Oh, extra evil. You know what I mean? But like, I think if he loses Vic, which is kind of like his like Jiminy Cricket on the show, you know what I mean? Like, he's very much like a balance, right? Because he lies to his mom, he lies to his girl, he lies to Sophia, right? Vic is the only person who he had seemingly been honest with. It was kind of jarring for him to be so devious.
You think he was being honest though? You think it was like...
Yeah, I think so. I think he believes his own delusions. I believe to him, he really is the good guy. You know what I mean? I think to him, he really is like a man of the people, right? When it's only in these I think he kind of snaps a little bit where like he has these moments of high stress where he literally just does the most evil shit possible. Fucking, he set a woman and her son on fire. Like, he did some of the wildest shit But
he only does that when you really provoke him, though.
Yeah, like when you...
As soon as you start making fun of him or any of this shit, talking down on him, that's when he really snaps.
Yeah, that's when he really snaps.
Yeah,
so to him, he's a good guy that gets pushed too far. Right? The scenes that reveal how dark and evil he really is when he was gonna let his mother's fucking hand get cut off or finger get cut off, and then what he did to Vic. Other than those 2 moments, I think you can almost redeem him or at least like understand where he was coming from. And they wanted to make sure that he was completely irredeemable, but I think you could get him there still with Vic dying in the explosion or something like that. You know what I mean? Like him losing his Jiminy Cricket, right? Because like, if y'all remember the original story of like Pinocchio kills Jiminy Cricket accidentally and like loses his conscience and like his whole like he kind of goes on this whole thing. Oh, you didn't know that he kills Jiminy Cricket in the original story?
Yeah, I didn't know that at all, actually.
Yeah, he crushes him in a fit of rage.
Whoa.
Yeah.
With his nose? Just start lying, OD.
You know what I'm saying? I really did like you. But yeah, so like he could have still lost his conscience and then like did the thing with his mom and stuff like that. And people would have said, "Oh, that was the moment. He lost Vic and he lost his conscience." You know what I mean? He like now he's a YN for real. You know what I mean? Whereas him doing it kind of just makes him unrealistically evil to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just thought it wasn't really earned.
I would only disagree because I feel like he was double crossing people the entire series. Fake being friendly with literally everybody in the series. So I think it's really, I think it really just speaks to his character as like who he is and what he's done. He's literally like, he told his mom the episode before, like, yo, his mom was like, hey, I don't want to be a vegetable. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm like that, please just kill me. He said he would. And here's his fucking mom living in the best view in the penthouse. But she's a fucking vegetable. She can't do shit. And he has his girlfriend dressing up as his mom, talking like he's like his mom.
Sicko. I think once we found out what he did to his own brothers, they were kind of setting him up to like be the ultimate scumbag in the end. Because you can't do all that and then give him a scene where he's crying over Vic, who's presumed to be, like to your point, Hod, his conscience. I think he used Vic as like a test dummy. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the things that he was saying to Vic, he was also saying to like the other people who he was double crossing to kind of serve as like practice. Like, oh, if he can believe this, I can get them to believe this.
I don't believe that all the way. I think he actually did like Vic. I think he genuinely liked Vic because he saw a lot of himself in him. They're from the same area. He remembered stuff about Vic's past. Like whenever he's like, oh, you'd make your father proud. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he genuinely meant all that shit. And I think he really meant what he said at the end. Like, this is a weakness, ultimately. Like, if they get to you, they get to me, and I can't have that. And that just goes to show, like...
Yeah, that's why it's like define care about Vic. Because I feel like...
He cares about... I think in terms of, like, the list, it goes his mom, Eve, and then Vic. I think that's the order right there.
So, but that's the thing. It can't be his mom because he clearly did not give a fuck about her because he wouldn't put her above him, and then it can't be Vic because he killed Vic.
You got to put himself on that list.
Is him?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about in terms of like other people, but yes, he would be up there as number one. But his mom number two, because if that was the case, I think he really cares about his mom because I feel like he's being selfish by keeping her alive, which must mean like, no, I need you around still. Like I care about you, I love you. I was lying to all these people about you being dead for all this time because I didn't want anybody to come after you. Because you're my weakness, but I am not strong enough to kill you. Because like I told you, he's trying to fuck his mom, bro.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's in love with his mother.
Going on. Yeah, for sure. They definitely had that, which was
she
never
was
really
a baddie
explained.
back in the day, bro. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
Which was never really like explained, really,
bit.
like why, you know. And I'm sure like kids have this thing where like, you know, they just, you know, their mothers are pretty much their first loves, right? But
yeah,
that was like to a weird extent for sure. Like he was jealous of his brothers and shit like that. Which,
as a young man who was raised by a single mother with literally just us two, my grandmother was there obviously, and my cousins lived with us sporadically, but it was really just me and my mom. You know what I mean? That closeness is very real, and that emotional attachment is extremely real, and it does take a lot to like break that bond, or like, you know, you want that, you especially when, you know, your mom has guys, you know, she's dating guys and they're not treating her well. You know what I mean? You kind of do get this complex of like, man, I want to treat my mom the way she deserves to be treated, you know, and all these guys that are coming along aren't doing it. You know what I mean? So there is like an emotional weight that young men have, but obviously he's a sicko. So it went a step further where he basically wanted, you know, honestly, it was baby boy. You want your mama to be your woman, but this is my woman. You know, So even like the brothers thing, though, the thing that kind of like, you could just say he was a child, you know what I mean? And he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't have any real, right? Because like, if put it like this, if she turned him in and he went to court, you know what I mean, for the murder of his brothers, they would have tried him as a child. They would have tried him as a juvenile, and he would have been out when he was 18 anyway, because what was he, 11 years old, 11, 12 years old? He didn't have a full concept. He probably got a taste for killing at that point, because he did hate his brothers. He was jealous of his brothers, and he got his mom all to himself through his actions. And yeah, that probably taught him to like just rid himself of the people in his way. Right.
Like,
so
yeah. So to that, right? Because I definitely do, like, I still gotta disagree and say that, like, I think he just was easily manipulating everybody in this show. And which brings me to the point to say, what kept him alive? You know what I'm saying? There were many instances where he should have been done for. You know what I mean? Like, there was just gifted a gab, but like, everybody knew what he was about. Like, everybody pointed it out. That was like the one thing that kind of, like, if this show was great, I love this show, but the one thing that bothered me is the fact that what is actually keeping him alive? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it
I can tell you.
Because he just not, like, he was in these positions for so long where they could have just, like, it seemed like everybody was so easily killable. Everybody seemed so expendable. Like, they were just ready to just kill people and shoot them in the head and poison them, and people was having strokes and passing out. But when it came to him, like, how was he able to talk his way out of every situation when they already knew that he was about some bullshit?
This is why Oswald Cobblepot is the ultimate villain. This is why this show puts him up here. He played on his disability, y'all. He played on the fact that he was fat, ugly, and stupid. People kept overrating. People kept and disabled.
Like, oh yeah, I could take him.
Yeah, people kept overrating how
took him
much
serious.
They had him because he played stupid. He played
He was just
sick
a driver
and played victim. He did it perfectly every single time in every single situation. Sophia was the only person, and again, in that scene with the mom, she looked at him with such disgust. Like, you were really gonna let me cut your mother's finger off? like she was like, oh my God, you have no bounds, bro.
Yeah,
none whatsoever.
You're terrible.
You're fucking terrible because he played on the fact that he could look like a victim at all times. His face was disfigured. He had a limp. You come up to him, you think you can beat him. Sal got him. He thought he could beat him. Sophia got him. She thought she could beat him. Every time people thought they could beat him.
What's his name? The wife of the Maronis. I forgot what her name was.
Oh yeah, I
had him outside.
Yeah,
where Vic had to slam the car into them and shit like that.
Yeah.
They had him there too.
Yeah, had him.
So many instances, bro.
Because he was so good at looking pitiful. Like, I think that's the subtext. Like, he was so good at looking pitiful. He caused so much people pain. They wanted to revel in it. They wanted to revel in the idea of like, yeah, motherfucker, I got you. And he let them feel like they had him.
Which is exactly why every time they didn't get him, he said, I got you.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
No, I got you, which is like a really good callback. That's a really good point, Han, because he says that shit, like, he said that shit in the Batman movie a lot. Like, when he was driving, he's like, yeah, I got you.
I got you.
I got you. Yeah. And then he didn't get him. But
he didn't get him either.
He didn't get him. But like, just, that's a really good callback because he's always the one to feel like, you know, or like, yeah, to let everybody know it and let everybody feel like they have the upper hand. Yeah. And then he like pulls the card at the last moment. Yeah. But like, just logistically, it still don't make that much sense. Like, that last scene, right? And I've been seeing jokes about this, right? The last scene with him and Sophia, where he had the gun to the back of her head. And then he, you know, Sophia's just, she closed her eyes for 2 seconds. She looking out on the water, you know, and spoiler alert, sorry if you didn't see it by now, but staring out the water. And then the cops pull up and he's gone. like nowhere to be found. Like, where did he go? He's big. Like even if he
let him
is.
Go. Because that was part of the deal. Like, bro, because remember, he had that meeting with the nigga that was running for our office or whatever. He was like, yo, I'm going to give you this setup, but you got to let me,
But where did he go? I mean, like, just logistically, though. Like, where?
He walked away. He went to the crowd.
But we didn't even see him walk away. He was just gone, disappeared. He should have still been limping in the background. Like, we should have still at least seen that. Like, he not that fast to just be booking that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's all. But that was the only thing where I was like, yeah, man, somebody should have got him. I know the show was the Penguin. I know it wasn't going to happen, but
I wasn't sure. I could have, he very much well could have ended with him getting killed. And that was the beauty of it. You didn't know. You didn't know how the show was going to end. You hear all the stuff about, they're only doing one season. You know what I mean? They didn't have to tie in the Batman 2 at all. They could have just kept it, singular, and the Penguin ascends to the top of Gotham or whatever. But it could have gone so many ways. I think that was the best part. There was just so much room for storytelling to happen. And ultimately, I think we got the show that we wanted, and we got the show that we needed out of it. And
without having to include Batman at all.
Without having the last second of the show basically was like, and it wasn't even him. Like, it was just the symbol itself.
Him and Selena Kyle. That's it.
Yeah.
How long does the ass whooping have to be for like it all to have been worth it?
I need him to pump the steroids. Apparently, I've been reading that Oz is going to be around for at least like 2 more like Batman related content.
He should be.
So he's not going anywhere.
Definitely should
be. Yeah, like they got to keep Colin Powell. Like, he's killing that shit. So they need to keep him. And this show made him such like a prominent character that in the movie we're probably going to be looking for him. He might not be around as much.
Yeah, it's probably a different movie now. Yeah. Like, looking at Joker and how people have responded to Joker 2, and then looking at the response to the Penguin, honestly, could this be as big a shift as Iron Man versus Spider-Man was when the Iron Man movie came out? Because, like, before, obviously in our culture, Spider-Man was the biggest character on the planet. You know what I mean? Biggest comic book character on the planet. And then Robert Downey Jr. becomes Iron Man. And the Iron Man movie comes out, and not instantly, but like at some point, Iron Man takes over as the most popular comic book character. Does this Penguin show and the Batman movie move it to where the Penguin has to be the big bad in this Batman series, and we don't need Joker? Because every Batman series has to end with Joker.
Mm-hmm. I'm only going to say no just because Batman has such a fucking impressive ass rogues gallery that I think they'd be doing a disservice by only focusing on, if you're looking at his entire rogues gallery, like, obviously it depends on how they're gonna execute, but Penguin's not really, like, he's like B tier maybe. You
That's
got
what
like
I'm saying.
Joker, Bane, like, even Mr. Freeze. I think Mr. Freeze could be I think Freeze could be fucking amazing in this upcoming movie. I was looking for stuff like, is this guy gonna be Is this guy gonna be Mr. Freeze? Is this guy gonna be Mr. Freeze?
Yeah,
but like,
that's
the only thing we got was like,
too,
shit, it started to get cold.
Yeah, it started to get cold. Like, yeah, that's what I want to talk about too before we, just wrap things up. Because I know I've had a couple of theories, and I just want to run them by y'all because there's like, we're just reaching for content, or at least I'm reaching for more content. Like the Selena Kyle little tease was cool. Like, obviously she's coming back, but there were a couple things that I had like questions about, right? Like who that little girl would end up being. For some reason, it's in my head that she might be Poison Ivy at some point, or like that's kind of like their way to tease a Poison Ivy type character, just because Sophia brought her to like the greenhouse, and that she poisoned the whole family basically. Like, I think that is like, that is bounds for like an arc of, this is how I became like Poison Ivy. Like, this is my start pretty much. I don't know if at that one girl that Vic was shacking up with, I don't know if she's gonna come back and do anything, or if she's gonna like try to. Cute. You know, she was cute. She seemed like she could have been like they gave her some scenes. You know what I'm saying? Like she gonna come back and become like Batgirl or some shit. Like who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like who knows if that's gonna be anything at all?
No point in her coming back now that Vic dead.
Yeah, she ain't Caliber. What if she comes back? What if she comes back to get him? You know, she heard he died. She comes back. You know, I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. But I just
they might
like
not.
Things like that. If it becomes anything.
So the only kind of thing was like Victor Zaz, right? Like that. I kind of because I'm like I know that there's another Victor villain character in the Batman universe, and it was Victor Zaz, but I don't think they're gonna go that route. My only thing is like I don't remember too much about the Batman movie. I mean, obviously I remember like the big stuff, but there was no fantastical element to it. You know what I mean? And I don't know how well you could pull off a Poison Ivy, or you know what I mean? Like at least with like Scarecrow, we like it's a chemical thing. You know what I mean? He poisons you and you have hallucinations. Even Mr. Freeze, like how I know that that's where they're going, but how are they going to do that and make it realistic? You know?
Yeah, they're gonna because the thing that I loved about like what they did with the Riddler, whereas they didn't make him like some like comical, cartoony, funny like like ha, ha, I'm the Riddler.
Riddle me this,
like,
Batman.
Yeah, like they didn't make him like they made him like a real ass. Yeah, he was a streamer, which is scary. Like they made him like fearful in the way that like, yo, this could actually be like this man had a cult following. He had his own stream online. People was talking about guns. And basically, yeah, he had like a whole like people was dressing up, but like he was like really menacing and scary. And shout out to also that dude. I forgot what his name was. Who was his actor, but he's a great actor too. Who played him. But what I loved about that movie was that there were so many moving parts, and like I need the same thing for the Batman Part 2, right? I need like multiple villains involved. Yes, we have Oz, which he was in the first one, but if we're gonna have like Dr. Freeze, like or Mr. Freeze, I would love for like them to be like other types of villains that they introduce like in the same way, but like more like on the side of things, because that's what they did with the first one.
For the Robin stuff, I found it very interesting the way we were introduced to Vic. Because we were introduced to Vic trying to steal rims off of Oz's car, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is what I love about the parallel of this show. Because without even having Batman in it, there's Batman themes that still happen. For anybody who doesn't know, Jason Todd, what's it called? The Red Hood, who also becomes a Robin, who also is a Robin at first, he got linked up with Batman from trying to steal his rims. He tried to steal rims off the Batmobile, and Batman caught him and took him in like that. So I find the beauty in the parallel, whereas like he could have easily been Robin, but instead he was on the other side of things. He got robbing the wrong car. So the Batmobile, you robbed this fucking purple ass car you can fucking see from a mile away. So yeah, man, I think Oz also has like those Batman-esque qualities where like he's not super powered or anything like that. You don't expect him to win a fucking fight or anything like that. But in that last episode, when he fucking takes that guy's gun, shoots him, uses him as a fucking shield, and it's like, yo, where the fuck is all this agility coming from? Where's all this battle-tested?
I know.
That's when you realize it was Colin Farrell in there.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Exactly. And nigga, what happened to your limp? How can you get down on one knee?
That's why they couldn't get a real big nigga to play Penguin.
Yeah, they couldn't get Queen's Flip in there. Like it had to.
It's funny because they did like a ghetto Batman swoop. I can definitely see Queen's Flip.
Definitely see Queen's Flip as Penguin. It's a fucking villain.
And Queen's Flip.
Just popping up out of nowhere and shit.
And he would be doing the exact same shit that Oz be doing, talking himself out of shit.
Talking himself out of shit. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, bro.
It's like, yo, this nigga moving fast as fuck in that fat suit. What the fuck?
Did not expect that from him. But all in all, really, really great show. I still think that it's gonna win awards for some things. I think it deserves it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That this might be the greatest piece of superhero content I think we've gotten in a while.
Yeah, especially as a TV show. Like
as a TV show,
small screen is up there.
Yeah, so shout out to everybody involved. And yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for the rest of the Batman universe. I know we gotta wait like a year and some change, but I am very excited for that.